30 seconds.
In your face, all over the place. We're online 24/7. 24/7. You're listening to the hottest internet station.
From beautiful Saline in southeastern Michigan.
Around the world at sunskymysteries.com.
This is the 2009 Top 10 Webcam in the World winner. This is SETV.
Well, good evening, everybody. I hope it appears that I am having a few difficulties with the sound system. Go figure. Who'd have thunk it? Let me check a few things while that works, and that works. So I don't know what the heck is going on. We'll be back as soon as I rectify it. And it appears that I now have the system working properly. Sadly, we will, in fact, be doing the show. And let me get the audio recorder going, and there we go. And here I am. Today is Friday the 13th, which explains a whole lot of things and why the audio recorder didn't want to work the first time. Actually, Friday the 13th came from when the Knights of the Templar were rounded up. I believe it was in France. They were all rounded up and executed, and that's where Friday the 13th comes from. If you hang out on the History Channel like I do, because, well, nothing else is really worth watching on television anymore. I mean, even none of the mainstream broadcasting channels have anything at all redeeming about them whatsoever. It's no wonder they're losing so much viewership to online resources. I mean, think about it. Anything you want to watch, you can watch it on Hulu. You can download the shows on, well, you can download them from Amazon. Just about anything you want, you can get online and watch it on your television. You can hook up your Netflix. You can get a device called a Roku. If you get the Roku, you could probably watch this show on your big screen in your house. At any rate, on Tuesday night, up this coming Tuesday, April 17th, 2012, we are going to have a guest on. This is going to be our first guest of this type, and conveniently it has to do with my just simply not giving a crap anymore about what people think or how I say it. And his name is Guy Smith. He is the author of the book called Shooting the Bull. You'll be seeing that on all of the web pages at sunskymysteries.com and SalineETV.com. You'll want to go there. The other thing that we're getting ready to do is, because we use our Illuminati channel over there on YouTube, we collect the comments off of YouTube and everything and spread them around on the various websites. But what we need to do is we need to coalesce everything all together. So we're working on a commenting system at one of our regular websites, where if you want to say something about the video on YouTube, you go there to say something about it. That lets us see who's watching the videos and collect all the comments in one place, because we run a social networking network. It's a network. At any rate, I had a epiphany today, an observational epiphany today, and that is this. This happens to be one of the top 10 worst jobs in the world. Broadcaster. That's right, broadcaster. And when you're in this business for any length of time, you realize that, you get these clowns that tell you, you pay us $10,000 and we'll teach you how to be a broadcaster and you can be the next Rush Limbaugh. Or you can be the next Sean Hannity or Glenn Beck. Well, you know what? Let me tell you something. I can do that for less than $5,000. In fact, I can do it for free. And here's what you need to know. You need to know how to say W. That's it. That's all you need to do, is know how to say W. And it's not W. It's double, as in two, U. Double U. That's how you say W. So, there you go. That's all you need to be a broadcaster. And you can be a big-time star like me. At any rate, I had an observational epiphany today. It occurs to me that all these clowns in Washington, D.C., what this has become is nothing more than a theater of the absurd. And that, my friends, is really, really disturbing. Now, I saw something on the internet, so you're going to have to bear with me for just a minute, because I wanted to read this article to you, but I completely forgot about it during the day today. So let me do a quick search while I'm talking to you. And there we go. We're going to do that. And let me see. Government. Go figure that I'd be searching for something about the government. Government and there we go. So we should get here. There we go. There it is. It is at townhall.com. And this is, I wasn't going to start the show out with this particular article, but I thought, this article literally will chill you to the core of your soul, honestly. This is by Judge Napolitano, everybody's favorite libertarian writer, and formerly on Fox News. He and Glenn Beck both got canned from Fox News. Don't believe anything you've heard, because Fox News is moving to the left at a rapid pace. Just to prove they can do it, apparently, because, I guess Rupert Murdoch has basically gone insane or something, judging by what's happening these days. This is an article by Judge Napolitano. It is called, "What If the Government Rejects the Constitution?" Now, this is a very scary piece. And it goes like this. What if the government never took the Constitution seriously? Kind of like what they're doing right now, if you catch my drift. What if the same generation, in some cases, the same human beings that wrote the First Amendment, Congress shall make no law abridging the freedom of speech, also enacted the Alien and Sedition Acts, which made it a crime to criticize the government? What if the feds don't regard the Constitution as the supreme law of the land? Very interesting question that Judge Napolitano puts forth. What if the government regards the Constitution as merely a guideline to be referred to from time to time, or a myth to be foisted upon the voters, but not as a historic delegation of power that lawfully limits the federal government? What if Congress knows that most of what it regulates puts it outside the confines of the Constitution, but it does whatever it can get away with? What if the feds don't think the Constitution was written to keep them off the people's back? Now, you and I both know that as we're looking over the vista of our country, and we see things like the Department of Homeland Security, we see things like the federal government not enforcing our immigration laws, we see filmmakers that are coming back from another country being stopped and harassed when they come back in the country, because whatever you do outside of the country does not fall under the Fourth Amendment of search and seizure. So anything you do out of the country can be searched and seized when you come back into the country. We see these things all over the place, and all of us that are conservatives, Christians, people that follow the Constitution or would like the Constitution followed by the government, because remember what Obama said. He said it's a document of negative liberties, but he meant negative liberties for the federal government, and he is setting about changing that. We all sit around and we see that this is actually happening, and myself, I can't think of any way out of it. At any rate, that'll be up on the group feed at SeleneETV.com under the show notes. We will get that up there. Now, I listened to a fellow this morning. His name is Doug Ducey. He is the treasurer in Arizona, and this guy is doing a bang-up job. Now, he puts forth, and I have a tendency to agree with him, that what we're seeing right now with what's going on at the federal level is the destruction of the small business owner and the entrepreneurial class from the point of view of the tax propositions that are being put forward right now. The other day, Barack Obama invoked the memory of Reagan in one of his speeches. And Larry Kudlow, he had an article, and he put it the best of anybody that I ever heard. And we're going to get back to Doug Ducey in a minute. But Larry Kudlow says, in President Obama's latest class war tax the rich gambit, he has stooped to a new low with misleading and out-of-context quotes from Ronald Reagan. And that's not the first time he's done that. He's done that many, many times at this point. Apparently, the president is now trying to use the Gipper for cover while he attacks Mitt Romney with the so-called Buffett rule. And you knew the Buffett rule was going to come up in this somewhere. In an address this past week, Obama cited a couple of Reagan speeches from June of 1985 in which the president quoted a letter from a wealthy executive who grumbled that he paid less in taxes than secretaries or bus drivers. Obviously, Obama was trying to draw a parallel with Warren Buffett's complaint that his tax rate is lower than his secretary's and the resulting Buffett rule. And the Buffett rule, if you don't know what that is, that means that his secretary has to pay her taxes right away on April 15th. But Buffett and rich people, they can go up to 8 years without paying their taxes, because that's how long he has been fighting the IRS to keep from paying his taxes, Warren Buffett. So that's what the Buffett rule is. The Buffett rule is going to keep the rich people from having to pay taxes for 8 years, because they're just going to sue the IRS or something. It's actually, that was a joke, by the way. You can start laughing. I'll wait. It's actually a proposed 30% minimum tax on millionaires. With a tongue-in-cheek flourish, Obama referred to Reagan as, and I quote, that wild-eyed socialist tax-hiking class warrior. That is the biggest pile of crap I have ever heard. A big, steaming, smelly pile of crap on a hot sidewalk in middle of the summer in Arizona on a 110-degree day. Pardon me. That's one of the professional drawbacks of being a broadcaster. One of the top 10 worst jobs in the world is that occasionally you get a frog in your throat. Of course, Obama doesn't tell you that Reagan had a completely and totally different tax reform vision. Go figure. In reality, rather than raising capital gains, now this is what Reagan did, and I lived through it, and a lot of our viewers probably lived through it too. I was actually paying attention when all of this was going on. Rather than raising the capital gains tax on successful investors or punishing wealthy people, which, by the way, is Obama's priorities, Reagan wanted full-bore, pro-growth tax reform, and that's exactly what he did. What he did is he slashed rates for everybody, just like across the board, like that. Just slash the rates. Simplify the tax system with only 2 brackets and eliminate tax shelters that allowed people to avoid paying any taxes at all. In other words, you're going to pay taxes, but we're not going to bone you for 90% of your money or 30% of your money. We're going to have 2 tax brackets, and we're going to close up all the loopholes, and everybody just pays. There you go. And Obama, invoking Reagan and taking him so far out of context is a lot like those artists that put a crucifix in urine and call it art. It's the same thing. It's an abomination is what it is. Abomination, get it? That was a pun. Anyways, this Ducey character, this Doug Ducey, he appeared this morning on Bill Bennett's Morning in America show. He was asked by the guest host, Seth Leibsohn, the following. And get clip number 1 ready, please. Seth Leibsohn asked him, what would you be advising presidential candidates right now about how to get out of our economic woes? What kind of statements would you make? And let's listen to what Mr. Ducey had to say.
Because I think if we thought more like a business person, we'd be thinking a lot more about solutions. I realize government is not a business, but it certainly can behave a lot more business-like. And I think that what can bring us together as a country is this idea of growth in the economy. And I think what the president is doing with this class warfare is wrong. And I think it is dividing us politically. And it's a leader's job to bring people together and to move forward. And the destruction of people and success with this class warfare is wrong. And it's a lot different from when I grew up and we held people out that were successful and said, what are they doing different? Or what habits and practices do they employ that allow them to rise up the economic ladder versus making them the enemy and saying it's their fault.
And that was the first clip of Mr. Ducey. He's made quite a success out there in Arizona, and he's a very successful business person and treasurer at the state level, and he's telling us that the class warfare stuff is making everything harder. And that's true. This class warfare, the 99% against the 1%, the men against the women, the blacks against the white, the Hispanics against the whites, it's just stupid and insane. That's not what this is all about. And these people, they apparently the way they think the country should be run is they think they should just pour salt in every wound that they can find instead of trying to heal it. They're torturers. They're not doctors. They're not the doctors of healing the country. They're the torturers of the population is what they are. And after that, Ducey went on to relate how the country is related to his business. And let's listen to that. This will be clip number 2 on the rotation. Here it is.
And this is a place where my income is going to grow, where I can save some money, where I can buy a house, and I really want to work hard here and make good things happen. And that only happens in profitable companies. Companies that are where everyone's scared and fearful and thinks that the business is going away, those people don't make an investment in that company or that community. They're actually have one foot out the door looking for what's next, and they're scared. So highly successful companies have highly productive people.
And that was how the country, how running the United States is related to a country. You have to have a profitable company. You have to make people want to be there. And people that don't want to be there, if they're afraid the company is going to go bankrupt, they're going to be looking for another job. They're going to have one foot out the door. And that's what's happening right now at a national level. And that is the rub. What we have here right now in the United States is an atmosphere of fear. And it all relates together. Fear at the business level, fear at the consumer level, and fear of what these idiots in Washington are going to do next. Now, in other news, you remember that yesterday I was talking about this character Hillary Rosen, and the White House is still not sure which Hillary Rosen it is, because apparently many different Hillary Rosens visit the White House, according to the White House press secretary guy. That every answer he is, well, I haven't talked to the president about that. Apparently they never talk. That's what I come up with. Now, Hillary Rosen, she has come up with another gem, and that is going to be our third clip tonight. Listen to this.
First, could we just get rid of this word war on women? The Obama campaign does not use it. President Obama does not use it. This is something that the Republicans are accusing people of using, but they're actually...
And there you go. That was Hillary Rosen claiming that the Democrats simply don't use the term war on women at all. It's all made up. It's the Republicans that are doing it. It's not us. Don't blame us. We don't use it. Nobody does it. Here we are at the National Review, and a series of fundraising materials that have been sent out to people. Here is a fundraising email from the Democratic Party. We're close to an incredible milestone in our campaign to stop endless Republicans' extremism. As of this moment, we are just 121 donations short of the most contributions we've ever had on a single day. Only a few short hours remain before the Federal Election Commission deadline. Will you help put us over the top? Contribute $3 before midnight. Together, we will put an end to the Republicans' unrelenting war on women. And that was right from the Democratic Party. So it appears that that's strike one against Ms. Rosen. And then James Carville, that last one was actually from Nancy Pelosi. Let me correct that. And then from James Carville, another big Democratic operative. The GOP's contraception hearing was a top-secret treehouse of no girls allowed. They've branded birth control pills a weapon of mass destruction. Their idea of a healthcare system is a Band-Aid and a bottle of aspirin. I laugh to keep from throwing stuff. These guys are dangerous. They will do anything to win. And whether it's waging a war on women or imploding our economy. That's strike two. Let's go to another little ditty from somebody by the name of Donna Brazile. The right wing will do anything to destroy President Obama, including waging war on women. That's strike three. You're out. Have a nice day. I'll let the other commenters comment on exactly what's going on here. I think it's a smokescreen. I think it's a smokescreen to either draw attention away from something else or give them more ammunition to use that against Romney. At any rate, this Korean missile thing, that fiasco. Now the State Department has said, well, you've launched the missile, so now we're not going to give you any more food. Because we don't even know if you're going to give the food to the people that are starving. So apparently more people are going to starve in North Korea because they decided to launch a missile that blew up. I'm still waiting, as per my morning update, that the Korean missile is actually intact and is now in orbit, carrying a mysterious payload, or even better yet, the X-38B, the mysterious Air Force space plane, shot it down while it was going into orbit. You know there's going to be some kind of conspiracy theory about this. You just know there is. I'm just waiting for it. I'm on pins and needles, literally. Literally. Right now I'm sitting on pins and needles, and it hurts like crazy. There's also been a swarm of 2.5 magnitude earthquakes in Minnesota and Michigan, right here where we are. And the United States Geological Service is not reporting them, ignoring them, as a matter of fact. They have a policy of anything at 2.5 and above they report. None of these have been reported. There's a swarm of them. They are going on the Minnesota and Michigan border, and for some reason they don't want to alert people, so they're not listing these quakes. Something is going on up there in the Upper Peninsula of Michigan, where it meets up with Minnesota, that they don't want us to know about. If they are trying to hide these, then it's got to be something very dire that they are choosing to ignore, in my opinion. Now, these were, in fact, these little earthquakes. You remember a couple years ago there was that big crack in the ground in the Upper Peninsula of Michigan. This is by the Chippewa National Forest. That's where these little quake swarms are happening. And you want to look up the Craton Rift, I believe it's spelled C-R-A-T-E-N Rift, as well as the Keweenaw. The Keweenaw, it has to do with the Keweenaw Peninsula in Michigan. It's called the Keweenaw Rift. Just look that up. There's an N in there somewhere in the scientific spelling, so I have trouble pronouncing that. Now, last night on KMO TV in St. Louis, Larry Connors was interviewing Barack Obama. Apparently, Larry didn't get the memo, and now he's probably in a FEMA camp somewhere, because Larry asked him the economy. This is his question to Obama. The economy is a big issue. I mean, unemployment, trying to make ends meet, gas prices, food prices. Some of our viewers are complaining, are frustrated and even angered when they see the first family jetting around on different vacations and so forth. They think that you're out of touch and that you don't know what they're experiencing. Let's listen to his answer to that one. I should play the Twilight Zone theme for this one.
I don't know how many viewers you're talking about that say that.
We do hear from some.
Well, I hear from all kinds of viewers about everything.
Yeah.
But the fact of the matter is, I think if you look at my track record, I'm raising a family here. When we travel, we got to travel through Secret Service and Air Force One. That's not my choice. I think most folks understand how hard I work and how hard this administration is working on behalf of the American people.
So, it's not his fault. It's never his fault. It's the Secret Service's fault. The Secret Service is the one that's making him do this. You know, if it was up to him, he'd be flying on a Cessna or driving there in a family station wagon. It's the Secret Service's fault. That's whose fault it is. Now, I saw a piece on the internet today, just before the show, just before we came on the air, that I have to do some more research on. I was going to finish up the show with that, but I don't think I'm going to, because I want to do some more research into it, because it is one of the most bizarre stories that I have heard in a long time. This is something that's called the King Alfred Plan. and apparently it was a pretty big thing. And I read a piece about where somebody had some family history of people in the family that were privy to either this information or had somehow talked to somebody that knew something about what was going on that's happening right now in the country. And I want to look into that a little bit more before I go ahead and bring it to you, because it almost sounds like it's half-baked. But this guy seems to think he knows what the FEMA camps are going to be used for, and I think he's got it 180 degrees out. That's what I think. I think he's 180 degrees, just completely going in the opposite of what it really is. So on our next show, which may be on Saturday the 14th, depending on how things go around the studio, I'm going to do some research on it and get back to you on that. So that's about it for the show tonight. Now remember, Tuesday night, we're going to have Guy Smith, a Second Amendment expert, on the show. And he is going to talk to us about gun control and how they are trying to circumvent the Second Amendment to the Constitution of the United States of America. So that is going to be on our next show. And that's about it. And sorry about the snafu there at the beginning. That was rather entertaining, though, wasn't it? So we'll see everybody on our next show, probably the 14th. If not, then the 15th, Tax Day, which is a Sunday, which means they give us an extra day to get the tax forms in. Sweet.